How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today I want to talk to you about when exactly to sell Bitcoin. Now, this is going to be true of other cryptocurrencies too. Now, I'm not going to say, hey, sell it at 121,000, wait for it to hit 60,000 again, then buy it again. No, I'm going to talk about this, and we have to watch this as time goes on, but I think it is very relevant. I think it is going to be very useful for some people who haven't really thought about it this way. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate that. Helps out the channel. Also hit subscribe if you haven't done that. There is a link down there to BlockFi in case you guys want $250 worth of Bitcoin. You can deposit some money there and you get an interest rate. Also, there is a link down there to Webull in case you want some free stocks there. Just deposit $100. Thank you guys, and let's get into it. Bill Mayer here talked on his late night show about cryptocurrency, and he basically riffed on it for 8 minutes straight. Now, he talks about Dogecoin and how expensive it's getting. He talks about how it was actually created as a joke, and that's funny, but he thinks the whole sector is a joke. He thinks crypto in general is a joke, and I would play this for you, but I don't really want to. It's 8 minutes of him riffing on this, talking about how Dogecoin is worth more than Ford stock. It's funny that he brings that up because Ford stock is actually down 31% over the last 11 years. So I'm not sure you really want to compare it to Ford because Ford hasn't done much of anything. Not a very good comparison there since Ford is pretty stagnant. But he talks about this. He talks about how Bitcoin is just overvalued and how we don't even know who created it because it's just Ponzi scheme money and stuff like that. Then we also have Charlie Munger, who talked about how disgusting Bitcoin is. He says that it's disgusting and contrary to the interest of civilization. He says, I don't welcome a currency that's so useful to kidnappers and extortionists. And he doesn't want to give billions and billions of dollars to someone who just invented a new financial product out of thin air. Really interesting, right? We've heard this before. Charlie Munger's constantly against this. Now, Warren Buffett doesn't say anything about Bitcoin. It is interesting to see these people that are still so strongly against it. Now, I want to talk about when exactly to sell Bitcoin. And I've heard people talk about this for Tesla. I'm going to give you the Tesla analogy first. People that are really hardcore in Tesla, a lot of them are still willing to sell at some point, right? They're very bullish on it, but heck, if anything goes up enough, it makes sense from a risk-reward perspective to trim a little bit. Now, I've heard people say when they actually will sell it. So we have people that constantly talk about autopilot, right? We have people that are scared of autopilot. They think the machines will take over. The machine isn't as good of a driver as I am. I would much rather drive myself. And whenever there's some autopilot crash, they're like, see, that shows you it's not safe or something like that. When the data shows us it's much safer. Just analytically, data-wise, it is much safer to have a self-driving car based on Tesla's own numbers. Now, that being said, people are saying the reason that they would sell Tesla is when those people that are against it jump on the train. As soon as they're like, yeah, I'll have a Tesla self-driving car, that we've hit the peak number, right? That's when, everyone's buying into it. Everyone is excited about it. And maybe it is as hyped as it ever will be because we have a lot of the people that hated it or that didn't think that it was useful then getting on board. That's when you hit the peak number there. Now, of course, that's not exactly right? Like people could buy the self-driving car and then realize that they want to buy the stock and it could go up from there, right? There's always more innovations that could happen to the company and they could continue to push it further, but that is where a lot of people say the risk reward isn't worth it. As soon as the people that dislike it, like it, then we're going to sell out. Now, I would say that's pretty similar to Bitcoin. We have old school investors that are still very against it. We have to be careful of people in the media because, who knows, Bill could have millions of dollars of Bitcoin and he's just trying to become more relevant for his channel or for his show here. So maybe he's just riffing on it because it's funny to some people and it's in the news a lot. He knew they'd get a lot of attention for it. But as soon as people like Charlie Munger start being bullish on Bitcoin, I'd be a little bit nervous. Sure, there's a lot of upside. Even if we compare it to something like gold, right? Gold has a $10 trillion market cap, Bitcoin about $1 trillion. So it has a 10x to get to gold. And even gold is very hit or miss with investors. People are either really for gold as a way to diversify or they're against it like Charlie Munger doesn't like it. Warren Buffett doesn't like it. That being said, though, you don't have gold making innovations every single day. It's not like Tesla comes out and say, hey, we'll accept your gold so that the price of gold goes up or anything like that. We don't have institutions necessarily being in the news for buying gold like we have with Bitcoin. Sure, it's kind of a hedge against a down market or against inflation or whatever you want to say, but Bitcoin now is too. So as soon as we see mainstream media always being bullish on crypto, I think we will be at a time where you have to at least consider maybe trimming or at least maybe not buying as much. Now, of course, this isn't financial advice. I'm really bullish on Bitcoin. I actually did a full video on my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, and all my other altcoins. I'll put it up on the end screen. But that is where we have to be a little bit careful in what we're buying and what we're doing with the coin. That would tell you, okay, maybe we've hit the peak, at least for this cycle, where people are just overall bullish on it. Now, that being said, you could still have a lot of institutions buy into that, or a lot of large companies buy in after that point. So I'd be a little bit careful of just selling everything, especially if you're bullish on it in general. Of course, not financial advice, but you have to keep that into consideration, or take that into consideration when you're buying. If everyone's bullish, maybe we're near that peak. Now, I will say Kevin O'Leary bought Bitcoin after being against it for a long time. He bought some other miners too. He bought some crypto in general, and he's pretty bullish on it now. Now, that being said, he's still really diversified. He talks about that a lot, how important that is. But that made me excited and nervous at the same time, because he had publicly come out against it so many times. So I think that's great when people like that jump on. But if everyone does that, it would make me a little bit cautious. Now, again, I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. Like I said, even with gold, it's 10x what Bitcoin is, and people are still against it. So that's just something to take into consideration. Even if Bitcoin was around 550,000, there'd still be people that are against it, don't like it for this, that, or the other reason. But it's something to keep on your radar. But let me know what you think about this down below. Let me know, would you ever sell Bitcoin if it hit $10 million 20 or 30 years from now? Would you be selling part of it just to diversify a little bit, or would you hold on to it? For me, I think I would probably trim if it passed $1 million. I mean, at that point, I'd have a lot of money in it, and I would want to be a little bit cautious, but I would still probably hold some along the line, or along the way. Same thing with Ethereum and some other altcoins too. I'd probably trim, but I'd hold some of it too, unless it just got to such a high level that I think I would rather just diversify away from it, or I thought it was way overinflated. That being said, there'd be more and more people that are actually invested in it, and it'd be a lot less volatile than it is now. It's really hard to have sell-offs in Bitcoin if it's at 10, 20, 30 trillion dollars. I know that that's a long way away, but the sell-offs would be much lower, much smaller amounts than what they are now, because we're getting large price swings, even like 10, 15% in a day right now still. So I think that is where we have to look out for Bitcoin. Now, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing to this video. Also, there is a link on the end screen to my crypto portfolio. Thank you guys for checking out BlockFi and Webull down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.